merry meet. I'm so happy you've joined me today. We are on our live stream, and we are going to have a little discussion today. And today what I'd like to talk about is the topic of solving problems. That's right, I want to talk about solving problems. So from a magical point of view, things are sometimes different than what they are from a mortal point of view, or from a mundane or a normal kind of day-to-day point of view. So in the world, the way the world sees things is well, let's just back up and get some real basic metaphysics out of the way. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the three-dimensional world is a world based on separateness and separation. So in the three-dimensional world, something is what it is because it's not everything else. So everything in the three-dimensional world is defined basically by what it's not. So the negative space is the way in which anything in the three-dimensional universe finds its identity. And so therefore the three-dimensional world is considered a world of separation. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having three dimensions. It's not that the world is evil or bad. It's just that's the way it is. So if you look to the three-dimensional world for anything, you're looking into a world of separation. Now, the three-dimensional world is a world of separation, but it's also the world of effect. There is nothing causative in that world because it's a world of reflection. Okay, so for instance, when people say they want to stay in the present moment, well, the present moment doesn't exist in three-dimensional world. Even at this second, if you're looking into the world, you're looking at history. You're looking at the result of a mental cause. So everything in the world, if you look to the world, you're looking to the past. There's nothing present in the physical world. The physical world is a reflection of what you've been thinking. So if you want to get into present moment, the only present moment exists in the invisible world, and that is in your mind. Okay, and the reason I'm talking about this is that the way that those of us that look to the world to define us, then we are subject to the laws of this world, and the laws of this world are in three dimensions that it must exist in time. In three dimensions must exist in time. They must exist. They must have had a past. They must have had a present, and they must have a future. And they are subject to death. Everything in the future, ultimate future for anything in the third dimension is death, is destruction, is annihilation, is dismissal of form. So when you look, the reason I'm talking about that is if you approach problem solving from a third dimension point of view, the only way that you can solve a problem is in time. The only way that you can solve a problem is by changing one separate thing for another separate thing. So to think in terms of, like, for instance, if you had a problem of finances, you had a financial problem. Well, the way that the three-dimensional world would solve the problem is by by trying to fix the problem in the financial realm. It would not know of any other way to do it. You would meet the problem at its own level and try to apply something else three-dimensionally to it that will solve it. And none of that really works. It may work temporarily, but there's no permanent solving of a problem because you're just substituting one illusion for another. Because three dimensions are by nature illusory. They're not real. Nothing in this world is real. And I don't mean that to mean like that since it's not real, it doesn't matter, it's not important, so let's just turn our backs on the world. That's not true. It is important, just like the screen of a movie theater is important. You need it to project those images so that you can enjoy the movie. Otherwise, without that screen, there's no way to watch it, or or your television, or your computer screen, or wherever you're finding those images for the movie, right, that you want to watch. Well, if you think about your life as a movie, you need the three-dimensional world in order to experience things. And so while we're in 3 dimensions, we need forms. We need this bodies, and we need time, and we need all of those things, or we can't have the experiences that we are trying to have here. So it's not that the world is bad when we realize that it's illusory. It's just that it's the screen on which is projected the thoughts of our most habitual thoughts. So if you're trying to solve a problem in the world, the only way to do that permanently is by changing the movie that you're projecting on the screen, right? You going and trying to rearrange the images on a screen because you don't like them is sort of like trying to reach into the mirror to fix your hair. It won't work. It's just going to frustrate you. It's never going to happen. So once we realize that, then we have to find a new way of approaching the solving of our problems, because we can't do it the old ways, because those never work. And haven't you noticed that your problems never really get solved? They may seem to get solved temporarily, but then they just show up in a new way. They show up in a different guise, and it seems like you've had the same problem over and over and over again for your whole life. Right? Everybody's got their own certain repertoire of problems that they seem to just kind of cycle through over and over again with a new cast of characters, but it's basically the same script again and again and again. And sometimes it looks like there's progress in certain areas, and that's fine. Yeah, we do progress, and that's wonderful. But if we're looking to actually solve problems and not just give ourselves temporary existential relief, it's sort of like an aspirin or something, then we need to ask ourselves, where is cause? Where is cause? What can I do to actually change that film? Okay. Now, this is where a lot of half-baked metaphysics, like law of attraction, and I'm not trying to down law of attraction because there is some merit to some of it, but a lot of the popular beliefs around it just are causing problems, not solutions. Because what happens is when people say, "Oh, I have to change my thoughts." Okay, all I have to do is change my thoughts, and then I can change my reality. And then they start, walking around chanting Mercedes-Benz, or they start looking at, visualizing and putting vision boards together, and all that stuff is great. I mean, we do a lot of that in magic too, visualizing and vision boards and affirmations and all of that, thinking, okay, all I have to do is change my thoughts, and then I will get a new result in the physical. Well, that's true, except for it's not the thoughts that you choose occasionally that are the issue. It's the thoughts that you think habitually that are the issue. So most people, when they come into something like the law of attraction or even magic, and they do some spells, or they do some affirmations or whatever they're doing, they might get a little movement in a direction or another, but they never seem to get the results that they're promised. And then either they give up and thinking that either A, it doesn't work, B, they don't know how to work it, or instead of giving up, they get on this like going to Vegas, well, maybe the next time I'll get the jackpot. Maybe the next time I'll get the jackpot. Maybe the next time I'll get the jackpot. And they just continue to do all of these things that don't really yield any results. Okay? And that's the problem with a lot of metaphysics, is that they get the basic idea of some of the theory right, but they don't take it far enough. And so that then nobody really gets what they need. If you look at where the realm of cause really is, it is in the mind, but it's in the deep mind. And the deep mind is like the fertile ground of the Mother Earth. It is to your being what the deep earth is to the three-dimensional reality. So if you plant seeds into the ground, they grow. And the kinds of seeds that we tend to plant habitually are easy to know what they are, because those are those problems that seem to come up again and again and again and again that we keep cycling through. So those are the problems that need to be addressed mentally. Now, there is a school of thought that if you analyze your deep mind and you understand, you can come to an understanding of many patterns, and then you can therapeutically alter some of those thought patterns, and then you will solve many of your problems. And things like psychoanalysis do that. And there may be some merit to that, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but it's not what we are talking about either. When you go deep enough in your mind, there's a place at which you find connection to your source. If you go deep enough into your mind, there's a place at which you find the connection to your source. And the source is what many people call God. Okay, so we can call it God just for ease of terminology. And this creative power is that which creates you. Okay, so if it creates you, it's your author, which gives it authority. Okay, so your creative source has all authority because it authored you. Now, part of what the ancients have always taught is that we have 100% freedom to think however we choose. And at some point, we decided to think separately from our source. And until we came back to the source had to patiently wait for us because the source can't intervene. It's like the Prime Directive in Star Wars. Can't interfere. You got to figure this one out yourself. You got to come back willingly. I can't do it for you until you ask me to. So that's where we get lost in this illusory world, is that we're trying to think of ourselves as being separate from this source, whereas this source has already given us everything that we need. So if you think about it that way, the source, or God, or whatever you want to call it, when we are created, gave you everything. Everything. Nothing has ever been withheld from you. So gave you all power to create, gave you all power to have joy, gave you the solution to every problem, is already encoded in you, who you are as a soul. And then you made up a bunch of personality on top of that, trying to separate yourself from this source. And so you're sort of stuck in this pseudo reality, thinking that you're separate, alone, and that you've got all these problems, and that what do I do to fix it? And then you run around and like a chicken with your head chopped off, trying to fix your problems. But you're going to one thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, and something's got to work, right? You throw enough stuff at it, and maybe something will eventually work. When in reality, you don't need to do any of that. Because just like when a teacher puts a problem on the board for a kid in school and says, okay, now here it is, 4 + 4 equals, now you go put the answer on the board. And the student has to figure out what 4 + 4 equals, but they don't have to create what 4 + 4 equals. It already exists. The solution exists. It existed before the teacher even thought of the problem. 4 + 4 equals 8. And if the student puts something other than 8, it's not that they've changed reality. It's that they have mistaken reality. And when they put the mistake on the board, that is their pseudo reality until the teacher can correct them. But if they are not in a place where they can hear the teacher, or the teacher, they turn away from the teacher, they don't believe the teacher, they could, if they wanted, get stuck in a false sense of reality that 4 + 4 equals 9 for as long as it took them, until they were willing to be corrected and know the reality. But it's very important to realize that they never created the problem that 4 + 4 equals 9 in reality, because there is no such problem. 4 + 4 can't equal 9. So the problem is a perceived one, and one that's going to get them in trouble again and again and again, every time they try to use that equation for anything in the world, it's going to give them wrong results, and they're always going to be frustrated. So no matter how many visualizations they do, no matter what shishi powder they sprinkle, and no matter what incense they burn, no matter how much they put it on their vision board, they're never going to solve that problem unless they ask to be corrected. Unless they ask for the real solution which already exists to be revealed to them. Now, if they don't want to give up their illusion that 4 + 4 = 9, they can't have release from this problem until they decide otherwise. Does that make sense? So the same is true for any problem. Any problem that you have already has been solved. It's already solved. There's nothing you have to do. You don't have to create the solution. You don't have to chant affirmations about the solution. You don't have to throw magic dust at the solution. The solution is already there. What you have to do is make up your mind that you want to know where you're wrong. If you can find that place where you know that if there's a problem, then you must be wrong, that's so powerful. That's real magic. That's what an adept does. So whenever there's a problem in your life, just say, I don't feel good. I feel there's a problem when there's a lack of peace, right? If there's a lack of peace in you, you know there's a problem. So you can tell yourself, well, obviously there's a problem because there's a lack of peace. And I understand that the reason that there's a lack of peace is because I've made a mistake. I'm trying to think that 4 + 4 = 9. So I know that I've made a mistake or I'd be feeling peace. Now, I want to be corrected so that I can know the real reality of this. I want the solution to be revealed to me. And I want to live in the solution, no longer into the problem. So I am willing to be wrong about whatever decisions I've made about this situation, and I'm asking to be shown what is true, what is right. I'm asking that the solution be revealed to me. And then it's a matter of you letting go of your need to be right. Your need to be right is your problem, no matter what it is. Because if you need to be right that 4 + 4 = 9, then everything stops until you get it in your head that it's okay if I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I want to be shown where I'm wrong because I can't seem to get anything to work with 4 + 4 = 9. Nothing works when I try to do 4 + 4 = 9. So I can't figure this out by myself. I don't know what this is by myself. I'm so lost in trying to find my own solution. But I remember being told that the solution already exists. So I'm willing to ask, to be led, to be shown where I'm wrong, where my mistakes were, and to be corrected so that I can now have this problem solution be revealed to me, already fully formed. And when you do that, you notice that your problems start to just break apart, so these problems that you have, right? To the degree that you're willing to be shown where they're erroneous, where your erroneous thinking is. And then you get to the point as you do this, when you decide, I want to be an adept, I want to be a magical adept, I want to be a wise person. When you do that, and you start down this path where you take your problems one at a time, and you say, I want to unlearn whatever it is that I learned to create this problem, and I want to be shown the solution. You realize that most of what you've been taught in this world is wrong. Most of everything that you think that you know about this world is wrong. And then it becomes this really exciting experience of being shown how wonderful everything really is underneath it all. That this movie is going to get changed. This movie will get changed. But we don't have to create the movie anymore. All we have to do is ask that the real movie be shown to us. You know what I mean? You don't have to direct your own film anymore. You don't have to cast your own film anymore. You don't have to come up with ideas about what you want your life to be anymore. You just have to ask, what do I love? Where are my passions? What am I drawn to? You know, it's already coded into you what you're supposed to be doing, where you're supposed to be. And everything that is not peaceful are areas in which you've made choices that are incorrect. And then you're going to go through them one at a time. And as they come to you, as they're revealed to you, you're going to ask again and again and again, Infinite Spirit, show me the truth about this situation. Inner Spirit, shine your light, bear your light on this situation, show me the truth so that I can see it for what it is rather than the truth, the so-called truth that I've been making up all this time. That's a lot of power, isn't it? All right, so this week what I would recommend is that you find, as you go through your day, notice when you have any kind of experience of your peace being destroyed, where you notice, I'm not at peace, I don't feel good, I'm upset. And then just allow yourself to say, I think I'm upset because of this, but I could be wrong. Whatever it is, I'm willing to be shown the reality of this situation so that my peace, which has already been given me, will be the truth. And I no longer am trying to support a pseudo-reality which robs me of my peace. Does that make sense? So when you're created, infinite intelligence, like I said, gives you everything and gives you perfect peace. The idea that you're supposed to have a lot of problems because that somehow strengthens you, it makes sense. It does make sense that I got to get stronger and powerful because then I do that through my problems. That's true if you're solving your problems as I describe. You're not going to be building good muscles if you're trying to solve them on your own. What you're going to be doing is so let's use that analogy. People think, oh, I got to have a lot of problems, and as I solve those problems, I get big and strong. You know, it's like putting a weight on. And there is truth to that. But if you're in a gym all by yourself and you don't ask for help and you've never studied kinesiology or fitness or anything like that, and you just start to lift a bunch of weights and you have no form, you're not building muscle, you're injuring yourself. You know, you may be building some muscle, but it's in a bad way. You're not doing a good job of it because you're not willing to ask to be shown how to build those muscles. In the same way with solving your problems, if you just willy-nilly say, well, I'm going to find the solution, and you go you try to work it out and solve your own problems, usually what you do is you get in trouble. Usually you reinforce the illusions and you strain things and you make it worse, not better. Whereas if you say, wait a minute, I need a trainer that knows what they're doing, that's trained in this, that knows how to show me every little thing, right? The good news is you have one. You don't have to pay for it. The only cost that you have to get in touch with your trainer is that you sit down and close your eyes and be quiet for 5 minutes and ask. That's it. And then as you are guided and led each step of the way, because you are focusing on your craft, the true craft, which is the way we're describing it, rather than trying to do things on your own, then you do get more powerful. You do build muscle by solving your problems. But you realize, I'm not solving my problems. I'm finding the solution that already exists. That's all. And the only way I can find the solution that already exists is to stop making up my own solutions and ask to be shown what the real solutions are. Once your teacher says 4 plus 4 equals 8, problem solved. Years and years and years of like every problem that you had because you've been trying to make 4 plus 4 equal 9 is over. Over. Lifetimes of you trying to do 4 plus 4 equals 9. Over. Just because you took a moment, relaxed your body and mind, and asked to be shown. And then your teacher said, 4 plus 4 does not equal 9. It equals 8. But thanks for asking, and I'm glad I was able to help you. And then that problem's over. Forever. All right, well, this has been great talking to you. I adore working with you, and I can't wait to talk to you again. And until that time, blessed be.